The pain was a dull, constant throb in my side, a cruel reminder of the surgery that had stapled me back together. 63 years, my body, once a sturdy frame built for construction, now felt like a fragile scaffolding, ready to buckle. I lay in the hospital bed, the sterile air thick with the scent of disinfectant, and a faint echo of other people's anxieties. My wife, Helen, was at home, her daily calls, a slender thread connecting me to the world outside this white room. I had nothing left to lose. That thought settled over me like a heavy blanket. Not comforting, but simply true. Then the phone rang. It was Jessica Castana, my lawyer. Her voice, usually crisp and precise, now tinged with an unusual gravity. "Arthur," she began, "I have some disturbing news. A summons has been filed. A stalking complaint." My mind, still fuzzy from the painkillers, struggled to grasp the words. Stalking. I was here, pinned to a bed, a drain still protruding from my abdomen. The absurdity of it was a bitter taste in my mouth. "Who?" I managed, my voice a raspy whisper. "Who is accusing me?" The name she uttered was unfamiliar. Monica Vega, a woman I had never met. The world tilted slightly. This was not a minor inconvenience. This was something darker. Days bled into a week, each one bringing fresh, unbelievable accusations. Photographs appeared, grainy images of a man resembling me, standing outside Monica Vega's apartment, loitering near her workplace, even trailing her car. Phone records surfaced, showing dozens of calls from a number linked to me, hanging up without a word. Eyewitnesses, interviewed by the police, described a man matching my description, behaving erratically, making veiled threats. The horror was not in the potential legal trouble. It was in the grotesque distortion of my own identity. How could they believe this? I, a man who had spent his life building things, brick by painstaking brick, was now being painted as a predatory shadow. The physical impossibility of it all became a maddening refrain. I showed the detectives my incision, the tubes, the IV drip. I showed them my hospital bracelet, the daily logs of medication, the nurse's notes. They listened politely, but their eyes held a skepticism that chilled me to the bone. The evidence, they implied, was overwhelming. Jessica worked tirelessly, bringing in specialists. The phone records were analyzed, revealing sophisticated spoofing. The photographs, upon closer inspection, showed subtle discrepancies, an angle of the jaw slightly off, a different set to the shoulders. This was not me, yet. The persistent hum of doubt from the authorities, the fear in Helen's eyes during our brief, strained visits, chipped away at my resolve. It felt as if a doppelganger had risen from some dark corner of my past, intent on dismantling my entire life. The world was beginning to believe him, not me. That was the true psychological torment. Jessica, relentless, began to dig deeper. She found a faint social media trail, a deleted profile under a different name, but with photographs that bore an uncanny resemblance to me. A man who looked like my younger self. Not exactly me, but close enough to fool a casual glance. He was involved in a small, obscure online community, a forum for impersonators, for those who reveled in crafting new identities. Phone number spoofing, deepfake technology. The threads of a calculated deception began to intertwine. The true antagonist remained a ghost, a name uttered by Jessica only in hushed tones. A former associate of Monica Vega's, recently dismissed from a tech company for unethical practices, for a history of online harassment. His name was Elias Thorne, a man with a grudge against Vega, who somehow had found a way to use my image, my very identity, as a weapon. The motive remained murky, but the method was becoming terrifyingly clear. He was a puppeteer, pulling strings, using my face as his mask. The confrontation took place in Jessica's office, a stark room overlooking the city, the afternoon sun glinting off the high-rise windows. Elias Thorne, a lean man in an expensive suit, sat across from us, flanked by his own lawyer. He had an arrogant smirk, a flicker of triumph in his eyes. He still believed he was untouchable. Jessica laid out the evidence, the forensic analysis of the photographs, confirming the subtle alterations, the deepfake indicators, the metadata from the spoofed calls, tracing them back to an IP address linked to Thorne's personal server, the archived social media posts showing him boasting about his digital skills, his ability to craft convincing illusions. Then, the undeniable blow, a meticulously documented timeline of Thorne's whereabouts, cross-referenced with the stalking incidents. He had been hundreds of miles away, on business trips, while the fabricated events unfolded. He had orchestrated it all from a distance, using my likeness as his proxy. The smirk vanished. His lawyer, a stern woman with weary eyes, looked at him with an expression of profound disappointment. Thorne's shoulders slumped. The brief, sharp control of the climax was not in a shouted confession, but in the quiet unraveling of his carefully constructed lie. There was no theatrical breakdown, just the cold, hard weight of undeniable truth. My physical recovery was slow, a testament to the brutal efficiency of time and healing. But the emotional recovery was even more protracted. The stalking accusations had been formally dropped. Elias Thorne was facing multiple charges. Monica Vega had offered a tearful apology, understanding now how she had been manipulated, how my life had been twisted into a weapon against her. Months later, Helen and I sat on our porch, the evening breeze soft on our faces. We talked about everything, about Nathan and his misguided attempts to secure our future, about Thorne and his digital malice, about the fragile nature of truth. In a world of endless screens, she reached for my hand, her touch of familiar comfort. "We survived, Arthur," she said, her voice quiet. I nodded. It was true. We had. Technology could distort, lies could spread, and reputations could be sullied in an instant. But truth, however slow, however painstaking its uncovering, always left a trace. And human endurance, I thought, looking at Helen, at our small, sturdy house, was a force far more resilient than any digital illusion. The quiet weight of that realization settled over me, heavy, quiet, and reflective.